from Wonderland Performing Arts, and welcome to Musical Theater Voice class. This is class number 2. So, just a review of what we did last week. Last week we kind of talked about how to find a song for your voice, how to find your voice type, your tessitura, yeah, a lot of that stuff. And we talked about song types, so ballads, upbeat songs, charm songs, comedies, character songs, 11 o'clock numbers, and all that jazz. So, hopefully with all of the information you got last week, you could kind of go out on your own and find a piece of music that works for you. Today, we're going to talk about what to do once you've selected that piece of music. We're going to talk about practicing. So, practicing. Oh, nobody's favorite thing to do is practice. Well, maybe some people. But most people's least favorite thing to do, especially music majors, is practice. But it's the most important part of preparing. So if you don't practice it, how are you going to know it well enough to perform it? And not just the words and singing the song, but what you're going to do while you're singing the song. So let's break it down. What's the first thing that we should do whenever we are ready to prepare a song? We've picked our song. We know what song it's going to be. But what do we do now? We can look at it. Have we listened to it before? Well, that might be step 1. If you haven't listened to it before, go and listen to it. That's the first way to get a good idea of what your song is going to sound like and what you've signed yourself up for. Yeah? So, look up your song. You can find a bunch of different versions on YouTube, I'm sure. So many different versions of so many different shows, different concerts, Studio 54 Below, all of those crazy places where people are always singing and they're always singing musical theater. So you might find a different version of the song that you really liked and chose. You could find the Idina Menzel version, you could find a Kristen Chenoweth version, you could find a Bernadette Peters version, you could find some girl you've never heard of before who's maybe on Broadway right now. That's how I've found most of my favorite new artists. They were all singing songs that I'd learned from older musicals and singing them at different clubs in New York and different videos on YouTube that were easily accessible, so I could see a bunch of different versions of one song. So I bet you're wondering, well, if I like this one version, why wouldn't I just choose that? That's a good question. So let's say you pick a song like My Philosophy from You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and you've only seen the Kristen Chenoweth version. We've all seen it. It's beautiful. She's wonderful. We know. But that's not the only version of the song there is to do. That's just Kristen Chenoweth's interpretation. There might be a different interpretation online that you haven't seen before that's completely different and might resonate with you a little bit better. Maybe there was more movement on the stage. Maybe there was less movement on the stage. Maybe her movements were just more abrupt and short like Kristen Chenoweth's, or maybe it had more of a flow to it. Maybe it looked more like a ballerina as opposed to, I think, a doll is how I kind of think of Kristen Chenoweth in that recording. There's a lot of different things to look for that might just work better for you, or something that you like more that you can add to your own interpretation. My favorite thing to do is to take different pieces of different interpretations of music and piece them all together into my own, because then they can't say that I did it like one person or that I only watched one video. I saw all of them and liked something out of each one, so I could put different pieces together to make it my own, my rendition of it, as opposed to, you know, Kristen Chenoweth's rendition. Yeah? So listen to the song, get it in your head, get it in your ear, come up with ideas of what you want to do whenever it's your turn to sing it. You can hum along as you're learning the melody. I know some people learn by rote, which means that they learn it by ear, by listening, and some people learn it through reading. So that would be your next step. If you can read notes and follow along on the piano, then this would be the time to do so. Just plunk out the melody very simply on the piano so that you can hear what it sounds like without any inflection, without any expression, just making sure you're singing the right notes, because that's just as important as performing, is making sure that you're singing the song correctly. So if you can, then figure it out that way. And if not, there are a lot of MIDI recordings of different songs that sometimes will play it for you without the words or without any inflections. It'll just play the notes along with the accompaniment, so you can listen to that. There are a bunch of different resources. Just check out YouTube. YouTube has so many different resources for learning songs, especially musical theater songs. So I would definitely check that out. And then next, follow along while you're listening. If you can't do it with the piano, then just do your best to look at the sheet music. I know following along to lyrics is also an easy way to do it, but when you can see the sheet music, you can see where the notes are going. So you can kind of tell, well, oh, I was singing this note going down and it actually goes up. So I don't want to sing that wrong. Let me make sure I'm doing it right. You can see it in the music. It's all written down for you. So I would definitely follow along with some sheet music. You can get sheet music on musicnotes.com for a few dollars. Some stuff, if you just Google it with PDF, you'll find it for free. So definitely don't lose the chance to see your song in front of you before you really get memorized and start performing the song. And then there's other stuff that you need to do while preparing. So we don't just want to worry about notes, we want to worry about character. I don't say worry, we want to work on character. We should never worry. So while we're working on our character, we need to think about our mission for the song, right? So what do you want to say in this song? What does the song say that you want to make sure rings true? Or what rings true the most for you that you want to make sure is understood? You need to kind of break down the character and break down the song, different pieces of the song that maybe mean a little bit more to you, so you put a little bit more emphasis on them or something like that. What are you going to do with your body while you're singing? Because we don't just want to stand and sing musical theater, especially if it's a song like Could Have Gone to Nashville from Nonsense. There's a whole thing about how she's going to have backup singers and it's this whole country blowout. You're not going to stand there and sing it, are you? Because then you have all these big things going around and around you and you're just like, and I could go to Opryland. Like, no, we don't want to do that. We want to have big song, dance, kick lines, craziness, flipping our hair. Anything that you put your mind to, you can do in a song, right? Right. Whew. So that's the kind of things we want to start thinking about. And this is a good time to have sheet music too, because you can write exactly where in the music you want to do something. So if you want to write it down and kind of work it out, just look at the first page. Like, okay, well, I've got 16 bars of music, and I know for sure that I want to pick my arms up on this word. So I'm going to write that. Or I like sometimes just draw stick figures because it's easier to, you know, see a picture and know what you meant as opposed to writing a word. But if words work for you, then write words. Come on, you can do it. It's going to be awesome. So writing down what you want to do with your body while you're singing. You doing the worm? You doing the wave? What are you doing? You know? And that's not to say that you can never just stand there and sing. Sometimes a song is really internal. Sometimes it's more about the feeling. So think about those feelings. Marinate on those feelings. When did you feel that way? What made you feel that way and why? Well, how can we interpret it here? Why does the character in the song feel this way? Well, is that similar to how I feel? There's so many different things that you can do with it. So definitely take it and run. Go as far as you can and as wide as you can and come up with as much creative, fun stuff to throw in to make it your own version of the song. So then do some research on the show. This is one of my favorite things to do because this is how I learn new shows, because I hear a song and I like it. I'm like, I've never even heard of this show before. What is this about? Let me go listen to it. So I go and listen to it and then boom, I've got a new favorite musical. That's how I found Sunday in the Park with George. It's still my favorite musical. It might be for the rest of my life. It's such a good show. But I heard the song, It's Hot Up Here, in a show that I did in college. Once I heard that song, I couldn't stop listening to the rest of the album, and now that is my dream role. I watch it. It's on YouTube. I highly recommend watching it. They took the Spanish subtitles off, so it's all clear and it's all there, and it's the original cast of Mandy Patinkin and Bernadette Peters. It's amazing. You know how we get when it comes to our favorite musicals. So anyway, look up the rest of the show. What else is happening in the show? It can help you find some context to the character if you kind of know what the character went through before this song, you know, and what's going to happen after. That might kind of motivate the choices that you make whenever you're going through the process of performing. Yeah? So these are all just for learning the song. We haven't even talked about what we're going to do in every rehearsal. So in every rehearsal, I think it's really important to have a mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror, because sometimes you make funny faces when you sing and you don't know it unless you see it, and you don't want to see it for the video after your performance, because then you're like, why didn't anyone tell me I was making that face? Who was going to tell you? You were practicing by yourself. That's why we need a mirror. So try to make sure, even if it's just a hand mirror, it helps you see that your mouth is opening wide enough while you're singing. It helps you see your vowels. Make sure you're not singing with a small space in your mouth, because then you won't have any space to sing. We gotta make sure that mouth is open. So making sure your mouth is nice and open, that you're not doing weird things with your eyes while you're singing, that maybe your tongue isn't sticking out sometimes. That thing gets wild. You never know where it's gonna go. Make sure that you've got nice posture and you're relaxed. You don't want to have your shoulders up here all tensed up, unless that's part of the song, of course. But for the most part, while we're singing, we want to try to be as relaxed as possible so that we can freely let our instrument do its job. So that's where we want to use a mirror. Mirrors also help when you're staging it for yourself. When you're deciding what you want to do with your body, are you just gonna kind of think, well, I want to lift up my arms and then put them back down and then kick out my leg and then do the same thing? It's like, what does that even look like? Sometimes it doesn't look as good as you think once you see it in person, and sometimes you want even more. And that's just what you wouldn't know unless you looked at a mirror. Like, oh, I felt like I was doing so much, but after seeing that, I just lifted my arms a couple times and stood there. We don't want to see these things after the fact. Practice is the time to get it out of the way. Make sure that it is perfect for your performance so you feel ready and prepared, and so you feel comfortable and you can do your absolute best when it's time to perform. So this is also when you want to start trying to sing it from memory. We never want to have the music in front of us for an audition, so we have to memorize our music. My favorite way to do it is to break it down into chunks. Maybe just memorize the chorus. Well, now you know at least 3 parts of the song in most songs if you just learn the chorus really well. So then learn the first verse, sing the first verse and the chorus, and then skip the second verse. Just listen. Make sure you're listening when you're not singing. Never lose the opportunity to hear what you need to hear. Whether it's in the music and you're looking for what cue you need to listen for in the music for when you come in, or whether it's just making sure you're singing the right notes and that you're on the same beat as the recording or as your pianist. Yeah? So always make sure that we are trying to break it down into chunks. And then once you get each chunk put together, you have the whole song, and it's a little bit easier to get through the process of repeating it over and over again. If you just repeat a short part, then you don't get tired of the whole song so fast, because putting it together makes it a different song than just singing the same part over and over and over and over and over again, right? Yeah. So then we have just go crazy, try everything. That's the note that I have for you. Go crazy, try everything. Don't hold back. This is your time to shine. So make sure that you dedicate as much time as you are comfortable and capable of dedicating to make sure that you give yourself the best opportunity when you're performing. So another fun thing that I like to do, I even do it for this, video yourself practicing first. That's how you get it right. Because sometimes you do things that you didn't do while you were looking in the mirror, and it's kind of important to be able to recognize that. So video yourself. Set it up in your living room, set it up in your bedroom. Just record yourself. See what you like about what you're doing and what you don't like. Try it again, video it again, and then decide, like, no, I think it was better before, or that's definitely a better move. There's so many different ways you can twist and turn a story to make it absolutely fit your purposes. So we want to make sure that we give ourselves the opportunity to explore. That means giving ourselves enough time to prepare and get comfortable with our music. And not just our music, but our movements. Singing and dancing at the same time, that's a lot of your brain that you're using all at once. So definitely make sure that you give yourself enough time to get comfortable with the two things and that they mesh together well, because if they don't, then you're just going to be battling yourself, and that's not setting yourself up for success. All of this is about setting ourselves up for success. So additionally, something that we need to just keep in mind when we're preparing a song or preparing for an audition, we need to have a performance resume. So let me erase my handy dandy board here. When you have a performance resume, it's different than just a work resume. This isn't the resume that you're going to bring your boss whenever you go to apply at your local smoothie shop, right? Right. This is a performance resume. So your performance resume is what you bring to auditions. Oh goodness, talking and writing at the same time. A-N-C-E. is what you're going to bring into your auditions so that the directors and casting directors and producers and stage managers or whoever is auditioning you knows what kind of experience you have and knows what exactly that you have to offer, you know? So with most performance resumes for big companies like in New York, they ask you to list your height, your weight, your hair color, and your eye color. Now, for some people like me, this changes all the time. My hair color changes like the weather. So, my natural hair color is blonde, but I would write whatever hair color I had at the time of the audition. So it's definitely important to keep your resume up to date so that they can see, oh, it says here that she has orange hair. She's got orange hair. It's definitely that one. Or if they read your resume and it says like, oh, this says she has brown hair, so it's definitely not that red-haired girl that I saw earlier. That can kind of leave some confusion, and you want to make sure that they have your information correct for when they want to call you back. So height, weight, hair color, eye color. Now this isn't required for all auditions. Not every company requires your height, weight, hair color, or eye color, but some professional casting companies, like for commercials and maybe Broadway shows or traveling shows or touring shows, whatever, they might require something like this. So it's just something to keep in mind that you might need to add to your resume. So next we want to make sure we are listing all of the skills that we have and what we're capable of doing. So if you're a musician, you would want to write that you're a singer and maybe how many years of experience you have. I mean, I've been singing since, oh God, how long have I been singing? I've been singing in competitions since I was at least 11, and so that would give me 12 years of experience. So I'm a singer. I can kind of play piano, but not well enough to do it for a show, so I wouldn't want to list that. But I can play guitar. I've been playing guitar for 10 years. And what else? I have dancing skills. I took dance lessons for, goodness, I don't even know. We're just gonna say 6 years. These are all skills that you've acquired, and however many years that you spent doing it is the kind of skill level that they can judge and base that you might be on and where you might fit in the show, so that they can fit you in a spot that they know that you're going to succeed. Again, setting ourselves up for success. So let's say these are some of the things we have experience in or our skills, but it doesn't just have to be this. What if you can juggle? Definitely add that you can juggle. And let's say we can also yodel. Yes, yodeling is very marketable. If you can learn how to yodel, learn how to yodel. Yodeling. So yeah, that's kind of what you want to have the bread and butter of your resume be. Everything that you're capable of doing, so they know exactly where to put you in the show. And then maybe list some details, like if you're a singer and you've been singing soprano for a while, then write that. Write that you're a soprano. Or if you specialized in a certain kind of dance all of those years, let's say you only really did ballet. Well, you would want to make sure that you put ballet so that they know that you didn't do hip hop. Or if you did do hip hop, that you're primarily really good at ballet. This is just giving them a very clear, open communication of what you're capable of, right? Right. And what else? Next, we want to look at our headshot. So your headshot. A headshot is basically just a really good selfie. Professional headshots are normally taken by professional photographers, but if you have a really good selfie that shows your face and shows your upper body, then it can be usable. Make sure it's a good angle and that you're smiling or making a neutral face. Don't bring a duck lip selfie to an audition. Oh, don't bring a duck lip selfie to an audition. It won't do any of us any good. Make sure that you're at least got a smile on your face or a straight face, and smiling if you have a picture of yourself smiling. Everybody loves a nice, bright, shiny smile. And you can just add that onto your resume. It's recommended to use an 8x10 photo. You can print it on the back. 8x10 headshot. You can add it to the back, or you can clip it, or whatever you decide to do with it. And then the rest of your resume is going to consist of everything you did as long as you've been doing what you're doing. So if you're in musical theater, write down every show you've been in, even if you were just in the ensemble. And that's the other important part. Make sure you include what role you played. So let's say you were in Annie and you played Annie. Write that down. And sometimes you want to include the production company you might have done it with or something like that. But as long as you put the role and the show, you're doing pretty good. So if you played Annie, play Annie. If you were in, I don't know, Mamma Mia, and you were just in the ensemble, put that you were in the ensemble. That means you know the ensemble music. That can be marketable if that's the show you're auditioning for. And not only that, but if they know you were in the ensemble of Mamma Mia, they know you know the show. So if you know the show, you might be one of the best candidates for a lead role, right? What if nobody else knows the show? I know it's Mamma Mia, but still, you never know. So it's important to make sure that you put everything you can think of in there. Any competitions you did? Have you ever done a singing competition? Well, did you place? At least put that you participated, even if you didn't place. If you did place, definitely make sure you include whatever you got in your award. If you won any awards, like in school or for leadership or anything like that, these are all things that make you look like you work harder and like you would put in the work to be in this show, because they know that you're a hard worker in school or in whatever community-based activities that you do. And don't forget, the parts you played, the things you did, performances you've done. Did you sing the national anthem at a football game? Well, that's cool. That might be something they want to know. Or did you perform in high school in your fall show and sing this, this, and this? Write it down. These are all performance experiences that you've had, and that's what they want to know. What's your experience? That's what a resume is for. So make sure that you add all of these things. If you have any questions, definitely leave a comment down below, and I'll make sure to try to address anything that I can, any clarities or anything. If you Google performance resume template, most of the time you'll find one that's already done for you. You just plug in all of your own information. Try to make it as easy for yourself as possible, but also make sure that you are as thorough as possible. Give yourself the best chance at success. Make sure you're not cutting yourself short because you didn't feel like doing something, right? Yeah, we want to make sure that we give ourselves the best opportunities to succeed. So let's do a little review. Handy dandy whiteboard. Let's start at the beginning of what we did today. So we started with how to learn our song, right? So we learned our song. We know to listen to different recordings when we're learning. We know to try to plunk it on the piano if you can. Try to get your hands on that sheet music while you're learning it so you don't learn any rhythms wrong or anything like that. Analyze the character in the song so that you kind of know what mission you're going into performing this with, right? Make sure that you kind of have an idea of what you want and where you're going as you're preparing it and pushing forward. And do some research on the show. Get a little bit of context. Get a little bit of understanding of what's going on outside of just your song. And then practicing. Use a mirror. Get yourself a hand mirror. Use your mirror that's hanging on the back of your door. Use your bathroom mirror. Any of these are completely accessible and definitely useful when learning your music. Stage it. Practice it in front of the mirror. Even if you can only see from here up, you know what you're doing with your arms. Practice it. Make videos. This is where videoing is going to help you so much, because whatever you can't see in a mirror, you should be able to see in your video. Make sure you get your full body in the video so you can see what your feet are doing, what your hands are doing, what your face is doing, and all of the culmination of the things that come together that you worked on. Just make sure that it comes together nicely so that you're not fighting yourself between one thing and another. And go crazy. Try everything. Even if you know you're not going to like it, try it. You might surprise yourself, or you know for sure that's not something that works for you. This is your opportunity to mess up. This is your opportunity to get it wrong. That's what you're supposed to do during practice, right? So I'm going to write really big right here, and I hope this is my, let me spell it wrong. I hope this is my thumbnail on the video. Get a mirror and video yourself. Oh, I'm gonna spell every word wrong today. video yourself. If you decide that you like one of your practice videos and you want to share it, I would love to see what you're working on. So please feel free to post it in the description below, in the comments below, and I'll definitely be checking them out. If you have any questions or want to know anything else about preparing your performance resume or practicing, or maybe you just don't know where to start, leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to work with you and kind of figure out what you need, yeah? Well, I think this is all I have for you today, so thank you for tuning in to Wonderland Performing Arts TV, and thank you for coming to Musical Theater Voice Class. I'm Miss Brii, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye!